Alright, so this is a demo that I'm doing for the Des Moines Public Library. You could also do this technique with markers. Like I'm using a dry brush for most of this, which is kind of fun. Okay, this is where the line gets kind of interesting. And we are doing a beach scene. We are going to paint a beach scene. Here's the foreground, here's the background, and the midground, and then the background. So it should be fun. We got sky, water, sand, and foliage. So let's get started. So I am only actually going to use cerulean blue, a Hooker's light green, or permanent green deep, yellow ochre, and the oxazine purple for browns mixed with yellow ochre. And I'm going to start at the very top. And I'm going to actually go all the way down to where the water edge is. This is just like, I would consider this a flat wash until I start messing around with it. Now I'm going to let it kind of do its thing. I might even add a tiny little bit of purple in there. Okay. And a little bit more, I think, right in here. Now this is where it gets kind of fun. It's pretty blue, which is good. Surely. I'm going to take my brush. I'm going to dry it off. It's clean. It's a clean, damp brush. And I'm going to make little wispy clouds. And I'm twisting my brush kind of. Peeling off my brush. I'm going back in. This is one way to make clouds. There's many ways. And then always at the bottom of the cloud, it seems like it's just a little bit darker. So I'm going to go back in with the darker bit wherever I want my cloud, just to give it an anchor almost there. And then I can always go back in and erase a little bit more if I need to. And I can also soften that edge. Just to give it a little bit more. And then I'm going to make this horizon line cleaned up a little bit. So there we go. Okay, there's the start of the sky. Now I have a choice with this stamp. I could make this all beachy, and I will, but I think I want some blue to come down into here, like the waves are rolling on the shore. So I'm going to start that. But first, while I am doing that, I really want to get this line, and it's going to be pretty simple, but there's always a horizon line. So, and I'm actually going to add a little bit of that green into the blue. Right, like that. Maybe it's more a Caribbean sort of thing. And I want to have a little bit of space, and then I'm going to go back into here and just adding a little bit of lines to that. I like that. We're going to come back to this. This isn't done yet. I'm going to soften some of my edges and just move my paint around just a tad. Clean damp brush, and I'm just cleaning up one of those edges. Like, I like this really white line, so I'm going to go in like this wherever I feel, and it's just, I'm just kind of following where these lines might be. And I'm going to clean my brush and I'm going to soften one side of the edge again. We're going to get really good at softening our edges. Just like that. So it looks like the water and the waves and the white caps are moving. And now I can go in with a little bit of green. I don't want too much green. And I'm just going to go in right in here. Almost like there's some depth to this water. Just a little goes a long way. Yellow ochre. I'm going to mix a little bit with this, with the cerulean. And actually I'm going to tone it down just a teeny bit. So I'm going to add a little bit of purple. So you can kind of see, I want my yellow ochre to be a sandy color. So to get that, I have to kind of make it brown. All right, now the fun part. I'm going to add just a teeny bit right into here. So it looks like there's a little bit of sand coming in. And then I can really make this happen. And don't worry, we're going to go in with some more green. But I want to get that started. I just want to get that all wet and ready to go for later. And this can just be the foreground. Okay, but I really want to work on the yellow right up here. So I'm going to soften my edges just like I did with the blue, right underneath the edge that I just did. And I can move the pigment around when it's still wet. And I can even add a little bit into here. What I don't want is for the yellow to mix in too much with the blue. You know, we want it to look natural. Like a beach. There, I think we're getting it. Okay. Woohoo! Now comes the fun part. I'm gonna continue with my yellow ochre and my little bit of my beautiful purple. Actually, there we go. And wherever I think there should be shadow, I'm just gonna add. I love how the purple and the yellow ochre just work together. I'm also gonna shape these rocks. You can make them whatever color you want. If you want them more purple, you could. And I'm not outlining the whole line. Even though there's a line there, I don't have to outline it. The line is already there. Okay. And this is such a calming scene that I think could be really fun to paint. Okay. Now, I like this green, but I don't love how bright it is. So I'm going to take that yellow ochre and I'm going to mix it in with that green. That gives me some color harmony. I can even add a little bit of that purple in. So I just get this very neutral purple. And now I'm just gonna dab it in. Sometimes there's like little bits of green coming. Alright, so I'm gonna use my brush and I'm just gonna, like, the lines are just there to be there. You do not have to follow the lines. In fact, I recommend you go out of the lines. Because I want to add a little bit of those, like, grass, what is it, the seed heads. And so I'm just stippling in some of that grass seed head. Right there. I'll do some more right here. Just dot, 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 dot. Dot, 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 dot. Woohoo, look at that. Oh, it's looking perfect. Okay. Instead of doing those little seed head dots, I'm just gonna add some of that yellow ochre right into the green. There. That's looking really good. Okay. Let's work on the ocean again. So I'm going to go straight into my cerulean. It's going to be kind of thick. I got this beautiful green blue happening. I need to add more of that blue right into it, just to give it a very beachy scene look. And I'm trying to preserve my whites. So wherever the lightest color is, I'm keeping it that way. I don't want to go over too much. You could also do this technique with markers. Like I'm using a dry brush for most of this, which is kind of fun. Okay, this is where the line gets kind of interesting. I'm going to break it up a little bit. And I'm going to break it up right in there. So what I'm doing is I am trying to preserve my whites again, and I'm going pretty fast. Oh, I love how that cloud turned out. I don't really want to mess with it. Okay, woo! Now I'm going to go back in, clean, damp brush. There's nothing on my brush, it's damp. And I'm going to, you guessed it, soften my edges on both sides of the cloud. So on the underneath and on the top. And I'm just, it's a clean damp brush, and you don't have a whole lot of control over the actual result, but the technique, you have control over how you do the technique. And I think this works really well for clouds, but you do have to get that second layer in for it to really look like a cloudy, you know, like a sunny day. And this is, I'm going to clean my brush one more time. I'm going to dry my brush on my washcloth, right? And then I'm going to come right down here almost to the horizon line and clean up anything that I feel like needs to be cleaned up. I really want my horizon line to be almost the focal point. You know, you can't have enough yellow and purple. Is I would make this part a little bit lighter, or a little bit more yellowy, almost like the sun is shining on it. Then I would even go up into here. And then I would take some of my purple, and I'm just going to lightly splatter, just so I get that beachy, pebbly look. And you have to be pretty careful. Sometimes I have to cover this part and splatter, but then I get this really pretty texture. And if your splattering goes a little bit out of control, don't worry, you can fix it really easy if you do it right away. And then it actually, I think it makes the piece look more like a watercolor piece. But I think I'm going to call that done. What do you think? Does that look awesome? I'm so excited to hear your thoughts. Let me know if you like to paint a beach scene. You could easily ink this up really easily. I got this stamp from Blue Night Rubber Stamps.com. Lynn makes all of these stamps, and I truly love her stamps. I use them often, and I see just a little bit, this needs a little bit more shadow. It just needs to be grounded. Anyways, I hope this helps, and happy painting, you guys.